Well, hey everybody, it's 3 p.m. and it's time for dinner with Nanny Bubby. I'm Nanny Bubby and this is my home kitchen and I welcome you here every day at 3 p.m. or at least every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. That's Biggie barking in the background who just started barking a half second ago because of course, for whatever reason, at 3 p.m. Biggie makes an appearance. So if he comes down here into the kitchen, I'll show you how cute my adorable little Biggie is. Thank you for joining me. So, you may have noticed, let me get closer. Do you see my eye? Well, let me go that way. Okay, so not to make your appetite disappear all of a sudden, but I have, since I was in my 20s, got what's called an eye bleed, which is a blood vessel that pops in my eye. I can't feel it. It doesn't hurt. Just all of a sudden, I look in the mirror and my eye is filled with blood. Can't get it out. It has to just literally wash itself out little by little by little. Nonetheless, I look like a vampire, but I'm not a vampire. But only a vampire would say they're not a vampire, so I'll let you decide. So today we are on our way out. We're going to a friend's home this evening. Hey, Susan Mendorf, nice to see you. Thank you for being here. We're going to a friend's home tonight for dinner. Actually, we're going over there for appetizers and drinks. I know, wow, right? It's so ugly. And sometimes it takes like a week to 10 days to actually go away. It's really terrible. It doesn't hurt though. It just hurts you to look at it. Sorry about that. Anyway, and hey, Judy, it's good that your eye doesn't hurt. It does not hurt. Thank you very much. So we're going over there to friends for drinks and appetizers, and we were supposed to have dinner at their home, and they were hiring a caterer to cook, and then at the last minute he couldn't do it for whatever reason. And so then we're going to just have appetizers and drinks there and then go off to the country club for dinner, which is great. But I thought, well, what can I? Hey, Doug Aisher, nice to see you, my friend. So happy you're here. Yay, Doug. So good to see you. Doug comes to us, I think, from Florida. Am I right? It's Florida, right, Doug? Anyway, at the last minute, I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to make some appetizers because I have no idea what she's doing or what she intends to do now. But I texted her this morning and said, hey, I have a great appetizer that I'm going to make today for the show, and I will just bring it and we'll just pop it in the oven when I get there. So that was an A-OK idea. So these are savory elephant ears, or some people call them palmiers. It's an easy recipe. And the first thing that we're going to do, let me turn you, is we're going to toast these pine nuts. So let me turn this on, turn it up, and I'm just going to take the pine nuts right here and just put them into a dry skillet. And because things burn, hey Heather, nice to see you, how are you? Because things burn very, very quickly, we want to just keep our eye on this. I don't want to do another thing but talk to you and keep my eyes looking up and down. And the minute we start to smell the pine nuts, that means they're done. We turn off the fire. We always move them around just a little bit. I can feel the heat coming off of them. I like to toss them around so they get browned on all sides. And here we go. All right. So this includes, it's toasted pine nuts. We're going to have sun-dried tomatoes. We have some goat cheese, which I might just show you that I weighed. So this goat cheese right here, the recipe calls for a half a cup, but it's very hard, of course, because there's so much air in this cheese to determine is this a half a cup or not. So even though this is actually 4 ounces, which it says that it is, let me turn this on. I actually weighed it. Oh, that was wrong. Let me turn that off. Okay, let it set. And it is, it's on milligrams. Wait a minute. Grams. Mode. There we go. All right. I'm learning this scale. Hold on. Let me turn this on. These are starting to toast. I can smell them. Okay, so weighing this is exactly 4 ounces, which is a half a cup. And so I was just kind of testing to make sure. Okay, these are starting to toast. I can smell them. I don't want them to burn. So we're just going to toss them around. Yeah, they're looking beautiful. Just the toasting just brings out the flavor. Let me just grab the spatula over here. Just pop these around. The oils come out. You can see that they're getting a little bit browned on the other side. There we go. Very nice. Just moving them around, toasting them. Go. And we will move them around just a little bit more. And there we go. I'm just going to turn the fire off and just let them sit nicely in here. They look perfect. They're caramelizing. They're just beautiful. And that's the end of that. So quick and so easy. So the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to cut up the sun-dried tomatoes. Now, word to the wise, Trader Joe's makes a fabulous, already pre-sliced sun-dried tomato. And I love their sun-dried tomatoes. And I buy extra bags of it for when I need it and just have it in my pantry in case I can't get over to Trader Joe's, like today. And so I ended up getting these from Whole Foods. And they're not pre-sliced, nor did they have any pre-sliced. Whoops, let me grab a knife. And so let's pre-slice them. And I will tell you that initially I used to put oil, sun-dried tomatoes and oil into this recipe. The problem is rarely can you find sun-dried tomatoes in oil that are already pre-sliced, and to have to slice up sun-dried tomatoes in oil is not so great either. So I prefer the sun-dried tomatoes as opposed to the ones in oil. Also, this is going to fold into pesto, and it's going to fold into the goat cheese, and it's going to be in the refrigerator for a while, so it's going to have a really good opportunity to rehydrate. We could also take these and throw them into a little bit of boiling water to rehydrate them. Make sure those are not getting burned, and they're fine. I don't remember what I did with the spatula. Ah, there it is. Okay, there we go. These are just beautiful. Perfect. They're not burned. They're just brown. They're beautiful. Okay, I love that. Okay, and so we could rehydrate them, but I really believe they're going to be folded up in the puff pastry, and in the folding of them and then putting them in the refrigerator for about an hour, they're going to hydrate, and then putting them in a hot oven is going to help to hydrate them as well. So the recipe calls for about a half cup of or a quarter of a cup of sun-dried tomatoes, and honestly that's a little more because I love the flavor of the sun-dried tomatoes. So there's that. So now our next move, this little bag that came from Whole Foods is nice because it's zip tights and they don't get dried out too much. So our next step is taking our puff pastry right here, and I love that I put it on this Melissa's board, floured the board. Let me just turn that just a little bit. And what we want to do is we want to roll this to 9.5, which it's 9, to 11.5. So we've got, it's 9 by 9 right now. So we're going to go long. Let me move these over so that they don't get in the way of the rolling pin. Okay. So I like rolling on a pad like this when you have to put flour down and when you're going to knead bread or when you're going to roll like we are right now, because even if I hydrogen peroxide my countertops, I always feel like they're just not clean enough, and I worry about it. So I really like using these little pads that have been through my dishwasher. I feel like they're, hygienic and clean. I'm really kind of funny about, the cleanliness of a work surface and things that I'm doing, especially when I'm serving people. I don't want it to be me that causes anybody to get sick, right? Like, you can't live with yourself when that happens. So I did put a little bit of flour underneath this, still sticking a little bit. Maybe I needed to put a little more. I think I'll turn this over a little bit. Go. And let's take our ruler and measure. So we are almost 10 inches wide and 11 inches. So we will just roll a little bit farther out just to get to 11 and a half. A little bit on this end. And that ought to do her. And that is just perfect. Okay, so our first step is I have this beautiful American basil pesto. Hey, Frank, nice to see you. You were a little late getting here, my friend. You had me a little worried. Okay, so let's open this up. I don't know if you've seen this. It's kind of cool because it's a great way if you buy pesto instead of making it yourself, which making it yourself can be very easy. But, yes, safety first, Susan. But in doing so, right now basil really isn't in season. I don't have any basil out there. So, and this was a last minute decision, so why not buy your basil? So here we go. We're just going to put a little bit of this, and we are going to spread it. We're going to spread love like butter. There we go. We're going to spread basil like butter. Okay, and this called for about a quarter of a cup. And what we really want to do is spread it just to a very thin layer, just a little bit of a margin. I want to make sure you can see that. You see that? Look at that. Really is beautiful. And she said she was going to have a cheese board that she asked the caterer to make. And I guess he had time to do that for her, which is great. But I didn't want to make too much. I didn't want to make people feel like if they didn't eat it all. And she has a cheese board. So this is just a little added something from Nanny Bubby to bring some love, bring some home cooking. There's Biggie. Always, right, guys? Hush, Biggie. All right. Now, next step, very easy. We are going to take, I think it's the sun-dried tomatoes, pesto, crumbled goat cheese. So this will be really great. We're going to take the crumbled goat cheese, just right here, just open this up, get this into my hand, and just crumble away. Start here, and just let this just drop right on. I love the colors of this. I think it's so beautiful. So Frank, I see you're not feeling well today, and I'm just going to tell you my experience when I had COVID is that I thought, oh, finally I'm negative, all is well, I can get out and get back to my life. And let me tell you, answer to that is not, meaning that it's just the fatigue, the exhaustion that it takes your body. I have to say that maybe with the flu, that was always the case, and maybe I just didn't notice it as much. But with COVID, it just seems that the exhaustion is you're just not able to bounce back. It took us, honestly, until just this week, almost 4 weeks before we felt normal again, and we are really feeling good right now. So trust me, Frank, just give yourself some grace. Don't be too hard on yourself. It'll come back. You'll bounce back. You'll get back to normal. Okay, I've got a handful here. Hey there, Susie. Let me just wash up right here. How many of you got to see the Channel 8 segment yesterday? It was really good. We had a lot of fun in the kitchen. I always have a lot of fun in the kitchen with Rocky. She's so fun to work with. So, okay, there's that. Now we're going to take the sun-dried tomatoes, and we're just going to sprinkle these on. This is so easy and so great. There we go. Lots of beautiful sun-dried tomatoes, all cut up and all delish. There we go. And honestly, these were not so hard to slice. These are not much better than what Trader Joe's does. Do you know what I mean? So this was my pleasure to do. Okay, there we go. Just a few more. Make sure I get it into all the corners. There we go. You will not believe, if you haven't already seen it, how this folds. It's just fantastic. Okay, So reaching into the pine nuts, they're just toasted so beautifully. Look at how beautiful those are. Can you see that? Look how nice and toasted, really beautiful, and you can smell them. They didn't burn because I kept my eye on them, because God only knows I have burned my share of nuts and caramel and things that, I get impatient and I wait and wait and wait, and then I think, oh, I'm going to go grab something. Hey, Teresa Anderson. How cold is it up in Reno? It's so cold here in Vegas. I always think about how cold it must be for you up there. So I'm really happy that you and I kept a really good eye on these pine nuts. They did not burn. This is like one of the best nut toastings I've ever had. So I'm very happy about that. This is about a quarter of a cup. We had about a half a cup of the cheese. Okay, there we go. And that's it. So now watch what we're going to do. We're going to take the ends and we are going to fold them to the center like that. See there? We're going to take this end and fold it to the center, just like that. There we go. Maybe I should have made more. I don't know. Might be too late, but here we go. Then we're gonna take, let me do this. Then we're gonna take this and fold it in half right on top of itself, just like that. See that? And we're gonna make that a little bit round, just kind of form it with our hands. And then we're going to, let me move this right over here. I'm going to take this is parchment lined, and I am going to take this whole log and just place it right on here. And this should give me about a quarter, let's see, if we're cutting it about a quarter of an inch, let's figure this out. Quarter of an inch, there we go. And we've got, as it comes, it's about 12 inches. So for a quarter of an inch times 12 times 4, let's say they're half of an inch, so there'll be 24 pieces off of this. Then I think that's going to be fine, right? So what we're going to do is cover this now with plastic wrap and stick it in the refrigerator. The reason that you're going to do that is because the dough is very soft. What you want to do is you want the dough to get nice and hard again. And you're going to stick it in there for about 45 minutes. Maybe if you're in a hurry and impatient, like I am, you can actually perhaps, just saying perhaps, put it in the freezer for maybe just 20 minutes. Once it gets hard, you're going to slice it. I'll take pictures. You're going to slice it into pieces, and you're going to set like 3 or 4 pieces depending on how they look. And I'll probably get all 24 on this one cookie sheet. Then I'll cover them again, take them to where we're going this evening, and we'll just throw them right in the oven. 400-degree oven for about 12 to 15 minutes, depending on the oven, and you have beautiful, savory elephant ears. And that's it. So I'm wishing all of you a beautiful weekend. That actually went very fast, much faster than I thought. So sorry about that. But nonetheless, I have to get ready to go anyway. So wishing you all a beautiful weekend. If you haven't seen our Chinese New Year, of course, all of you were able to come and watch my interview a week ago today with Chef Katie Chin, where she actually taught me the recipe. I mean, we spent 40 minutes making the recipe, but I had to break that recipe down in 5 minutes yesterday, and oh my gosh, it was a lot, but we got it done. We sure got it done. I think the only thing we forgot is to say spread love like butter. So anyway, better luck next time. So wishing you all a great, happy, and wonderful weekend. If you're celebrating the Lunar New Year, continue to have a great weekend celebrating, and I will see you on Monday. Remember, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, go out and spread love like butter. That's it, everybody. Love you. Bye.